Yeah, it's been thrown. Oh, that is straight up an aspirin bottle. Hold on, is that actually? Oh, it like eliminates the label when you have it in your hand. Can I take that? Nah, I was curious because of sanity pills. But yes, I am a ghost hunter going in and just taking people's pharmacies. I am a professional. But how's it going, everyone? This is Gale Hall Gaming, and welcome back to the Phasmophobia Beginner's Guide. Now, we are going a little out of order here, but this is simply because this map just recently got a rework, so I'm wanting to get this out as soon as possible so that people who are new to the game can see how the rework map is going to affect them, as well as any veterans who may not have played on this new map if you want to see the changes that they made, because there are quite a few. This went from a small map to a medium, so there is quite a few changes that have occurred since the rework. But regardless, let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to be doing a map guide on Bleasdale Farmhouse. And immediately I can hear differences too. So immediately something you're going to notice, the map has changed quite a bit. You are no longer dealing with the usual map that you have in some of the smaller sections of Phasmophobia. Here you got a much more detailed map, and you kind of need that because this entire place is a little bit complicated now. But anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it. Of course, I do have the ghosts on friendly, so we don't have to worry about dying. But we do have some space to cover, so it's pretty. Now, first thing that I should note is I don't know exactly where they start. There it is. There are motion lights on this map. Now, this may not seem like a huge deal because they're all outside, but we're going to see why that's a big deal in a second, because A, there is the possibility of having an outside ghost room on this map, and B, those motion lights do count toward the number of lights on the map, which is a big deal for if you want to keep the breaker on. Because, these motion lights can trip the breaker. But anyway, we're going to start actually on the outside section here. So this, you can see them automatically turn off whenever. And also of note, the ghost can trigger those motion lights. So if you see them pop on and off, you know the ghost just passed by that area. But anyway, right here is the side path. This can actually be a ghost room. The main thing of note here is, of course, you get the two motion lights. There is a hiding spot right here if you need to use it. Beyond that, though, not really much here. It's a long hallway. You can very easily get ghost dots out here. Or not dots, but ghost orbs. Just set up a tripod in like one of these corners and watch down the hallway. There is no light switch light. It is only these motion lights, so bear that in mind for the purpose of keeping sanity up. But anyway, moving into the back here, we have the garden. Now again, this is another room that can be ghost room. And it is so weird now having like outside ghost rooms. It's really cool. I really enjoy what they did with this map. But anyway, I'm trying to figure out, because I won't lie, this is my first time on this map as well, which may make it seem like I'm not qualified to give advice on it, but at the same time, I played this map plenty before the rework, so I'm trying to figure out if there's a light switch for the garden. I don't think there is. I could be wrong on that, though. From what I read, the garden has motion lights as well. I'm just trying to figure out where they are. But anyway, not much of note in the garden, really. This central tree is a good spot to try and loop the ghosts. It's hard to break line of sight, but you can get around it and back out through that hallway if you're fast enough. Beyond that, though, I don't recommend staying around here if the ghost decides to hunt. No curse signs or anything like that. But anyway, going over here, we have the garden path. Or the garden porch, apologies. Now, there's a few things of note here. First off, you have another motion light up there. Second off, there is a security camera right here. You can view that from inside the van. So there is a chance that you won't even need a camera if this is the ghost room. I believe this and the side path over here are the only two areas that have, and I believe this counts for most of the game, the only two ghost rooms that have a camera built into the map that looks into the ghost room. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that, but it's from what I've played of the game and what I've seen, that does seem to be the case. Let's see if these things are like... Yeah, no. These little like lights here are usually just interactable, so I'm wondering why they aren't in this one. Anyway, table, not a bad spot to loop the ghost, and right over here is a possible location. Oh, hold on. Yes, there it is. Okay, so that light switch right there is how you turn on the garden lights. But anyway, we're done with those, so we can go and turn those off. But power box can spawn right here. This is sort of experimentation as well as giving you guys a guide to the map, because this is my first time on it, so I'm looking through it too. Being completely honest. Don't worry, I'm not giving any misinformation. I have the wiki up right next to me, so I'm not giving out any incorrect information. It's just sometimes it will take me a little bit to get the information out. Anyway, right here is the living room. It's one of the larger rooms on the map, with about shit all to do in it, if I'm being honest. From what I've seen, the only thing of note is at the end of one of these couches, which I believe I want to say it's this one? Like right around here will be the Ouija board. So this is one of the cursed item spawns, but that's about it for the living room. Of course, each of these rooms has two light switches, which simply just dims the lights, it looks like. Yeah, there's like 1 and 2, so you can flip on both if you need to see the entire room, which that is actually really bright. Compared to previous Bleasdale Farmhouse, hell yeah. That was actually really nice. Alright, anyway. Up next in here is the foyer, or the foyer if you want to be fancy. Only real thing of note in here is you got a closet over here to try and hide in if the ghost starts hunting. There isn't really any cursed items or anything to talk about in here. There's not even really good spots to loop the ghosts, so just keep this place in mind. The closet is a decent spot to hide if you're on the first floor. Just be careful you don't let the ghost see you enter it. Moving on to what's known as the tea room, which, by the way, if this is a farmhouse, the people who own this house were fucking fancy. They got like entire studies, tea rooms. They got a lot of shit in here. But anyway, main thing of note in the tea room is, I believe it's over here. You can have a cursed item spawn. I believe this is the music box. Yes. So right around here, I believe on this doily right here would be the music box. If that happened to be the... Hold on, what is that? Geez, genuinely curious what that is. Well, whatever it is, it's not important. But anyway, like I said, right around there is where the music box should spawn, so keep an eye out for that. Beyond that, you can get a little bit of mileage trying to loop in here, but not all that much, so I don't recommend trying it. This back couch would probably be your best bet. You can kind of break line of sight, but even then, line of sight in Phasmophobia is based on the head. So, yeah, it's not the best option. Alright, in here we have the utility room. There's a few things to note in here. First off, if you are running from the ghost, do not run in here. This is a dead end. Your best bet, if you do have to run in here, is hide in these boxes. This is a sanctioned hiding spot. But at the same time, don't run in here if the ghost's chasing you. Unless you have time to get to those boxes, it will catch you. But anyway, the other two things to note in this room is, of course, this is one of the power box spawns. And right around here is where the circle, the pentagram, will spawn. The ritual circle, that's what I'm looking for. I couldn't think of the word. Sorry about that. But anyway, that is about it for the utility room. This can be a ghost room. It's got plenty of tables to set up equipment. It's actually one of the nicer ghost rooms. But still, I don't recommend spending too much time in there if possible. Anyway, moving on. Right over here we have what's known as a side entrance. This is just a simple L-shaped room. There's not any hiding spots, any place to loop the ghost. No cursed items of any sort. The only real thing of note is This is an exit out to the outside path. I will caution you. Something very, very important to realize about this map. You are not safe from the ghosts until you are outside this gate. Or, of course, outside the front door. The ghosts can and will follow you outside. Now, granted, that does mean that one of the only doors in the map that remain, or one of the only doors leading outside that remain unlocked is on this map. That door over there will stay unlocked during a hunt as well. The door over here, next to the living room, will remain unlocked. So you can get outside, but it's not going to do you much good because the ghost will still follow you. But anyway, that's about it for in here. I believe you can also get EMF from the telephone here, but that is just it's honestly just a fairly simple room. Again, not much here though. Moving on to the next room, we have the bathroom. No cursed items of any sort. Again, I apologize. I'm looking through this at the same time as I'm learning about it. Yeah, this is just the downstairs bathroom. Only thing of note in here is you can get dirty water out of the sink. And it's a okay spot to hide. You know, I was just saying it was an okay spot to hide. I think we found the ghost room. Luckily... Oh, wait, no. This thing's just fucking with me. Hi, sir. Alright, but anyway. Decent spot to hide in this back corner here. If the ghost doesn't see you come in, of course, there is always the possibility that it wanders in by itself. If it ever enters that bathroom, it will see you. So just bear that in mind. Alright, moving on. For a second, I thought that was blood. We have the dining room. Now, the dining room's kind of interesting in the fact that this is one of the more uniquely structured rooms. It's got doorways disconnected from it that... Well, like, this has a door, but, like, the kitchen, no doors to speak of. So it's attached to the kitchen, but the kitchen is considered a separate room for the sake of, like, ghost rooms. So something to keep in mind. But anyway, the only real thing of note in the dining room is this table is decent for looping the ghost. You can break line of sight pretty easily just given the amount of items on the table. And speaking of the amount of items on the table, this is a really good place to set up a polter check if you think you are dealing with a poltergeist. But anyway, moving on to the kitchen. Kitchen, fairly simple room. There's really not much here. You can use this like separation between the dining room and kitchen to try and loop the ghost as well. It's not bad. It's a little long on the like sides of it, so you might not be able to break line of sight easily. But it ain't bad. Beyond that, again, a lot of items in here. You can very easily set up a polter check, especially with all the food in here. Not much of note beyond that. Like, the ghost can't even turn on the ovens. You can get dirty water through the sink, but that is really about it. It's a fairly simple room. But anyway... Moving on, we're going to be heading upstairs. Now, there are 3 floors on this map. The top floor, of course, being considered the attic. So this stairway right here, I believe, yeah, it cannot be the ghost room, as well as this upstairs hallway cannot be the ghost room. So just bear in mind if you're getting cold temperatures up here, it is not because the ghost is actually favoring this room. It is because you have a wandering ghost, and it is just tracking through this room. But anyway... There's not really anything of note in the upstairs hallway or going up the stairs. So we're just going to go ahead and do our usual of going around clockwise. Right here we have the master bedroom, aka the largest room on the whole map. This is the only place where I consider the 2 light switches to be absolutely necessary, just because it is so fucking big. But regardless, it can be a little tricky to set up in this room. I recommend if this is the ghost room, you bring in as much equipment as possible. I actually even recommend bringing in multiples of the same piece of equipment, which isn't usually like recommended. You don't need that many other than maybe like dots and ghostwriting book. But yeah, it is just very, very handy to have multiple of the same item in this room just because you have so much space to cover. Now, as for unique parts of this room, I believe this right here is a sanctioned hiding spot you can get a decent bit of mileage out of. So hiding there can be good, especially if this, I believe the screen has a chance of being pulled out. You can break line of sight really easily using this screen, so that's a decent spot to loot the ghost. Beyond that though, of course there's the one teddy bear on the map. And then right here is the voodoo doll spawn. So keep that in mind if you have a friend. You can also really easily break, I'm not sure if this blocks line of sight because it's sort of translucent. That will require further testing. I will have to test that on my own time to see if that is indeed a good way of breaking line of sight. Regardless, this is definitely an interesting bit because most of the time if you have a master bedroom, the connected bathroom and closet are considered parts of the same ghost room. However, because this room is so big, they are actually considered separate rooms, so we have to cover them separately. Of course, in here is the master bathroom. Not much of note in here. You can get a decent hiding spot right here if the ghost room is bedroom. Of course, bone can spawn in here. The bone can spawn anywhere the ghost walks. But regardless, the only other thing of note in here is there's a decent amount of items to try and get polter checks. And then beyond that, you have sinks for getting dirty water. That is about it, if I'm being honest. There really isn't much to do with this room. Excuse me. When I start talking a lot, I start getting tired. But anyway, in here is the walk-in closet. Again, not much of note in here. There's not even really good hiding spot aside from this cabinet over here. No, actually, that map is wrong. They labeled us as a hiding spot. You can't hide in here. Apologies. I might have to like contact the wiki. They have that labeled wrong. Apologies. But anyway, yeah, not really anything of note here. There's not even any cursed items. I mean, you can get away with trying to hide in here if the ghost doesn't see you come in, but at the same time, it's a full room. Ghosts are very likely to check it, so I don't recommend it. It's up to you if you want to try it, but just know that it will be significantly more dangerous than just using a normal hiding spot. Alright, moving on. We have in here is the study. This room is decent. Ooh, chessboard. Sorry, I'm a huge fan of chess. But, it's not a bad room. If you have this as a ghost room, you can break line of sight really easily using these chairs if you're wanting to loop the ghost. As well, there's a few things of note in here. For one, the monkey's paw, I believe, spawns right here. And two, this is actually a rare instance of there being a ghost hunting item in the map outside of an event, because there is a single, count it, one match in the study. So use that carefully. It's the only one on the map, but like if you're in a pinch and like your lighter ran out, it's decent to grab. Beyond that, not much note in this room. There's not any sanctioned hiding spots. The only thing of note is this little closet back here. This is considered part of the same room. Hello, there's a gun case here missing the gun. I wonder if there's like a little mystery on this map. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, anyway. This can be a decent hiding spot. It's not sanctioned hiding spot because there isn't like anything blocking the ghost's viewpoint, so if it opens that door, you're fucked. But yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. Anyway, moving on. We have a few more rooms on this floor, and then we head to the attic. Over here is the master bathroom. No, the master bathroom is the other one. But again, the wiki is like a little bit wrong on this map. A little weird. But anyway, this is the upstairs bathroom. Of note in this room, there's a lot of interactables if you're trying to get a ghost interaction. Especially if you're trying to set up a polter check, this is another good spot to grab some stuff. You got the medication in here. You got like the hairspray, the bars of soap. Speaking of, it's been thrown. Oh, that is straight up an aspirin bottle. Hold on, is that actually? Oh, it like eliminates the label when you have it in your hand. Can I take that? Nah, I was curious because of sanity pills. But yeah, Yes, I'm a ghost hunter going in and just taking people's pharmacies. I am a professional. But anyway, only thing to note in here is I don't know if you can actually turn on the tub. You can't. The current blocks you from this side, and then you can't get it out from this side. So the only thing of note is the sinks here are good for dirty water. Beyond that, really there's nothing. It's one of the more bare bones rooms, but at the same time that is good for if you have a ghost room here, because it means you don't have to cover as much area. Moving on to the final room of the base floor that can be a ghost room. There is technically one more room, but it is impossible to be a ghost room there. We have in here the trophy room. Trophy room is a little unique in the fact that you have all these display cases. You can't actually use any of these items. You can have the ghost throw them though, so again, this is a really good spot to set up polter checks, just given the number of items in here. Of note with this room is I believe in this display case right here will spawn the mirror. So if you're trying to get the cursed mirror, just check the trophy room up here. Beyond that, hold on, we got some service medals. Doesn't look like a purple heart or anything, so folded flag though. So whoever owned this house was an army vet. Interesting. Sorry, I'm like exploring this at the same time as I can't even open those. Curious what those were. Yeah, I'm just curious because that gun case has sort of ignited curiosity in me. Oh, you can't open these ones. Why can't you open this one? Oh, you can. There we go. I just wasn't pulling enough. But yeah, anyway. The only other thing of note with this room is this like centerpiece here is good for breaking line of sight with the ghost. So bear that in mind. It is a really good spot to loop. But beyond that, not much to note. There is also the fact that there are no doors here. So it feels like... Excuse me. It feels like it should be connected to the upstairs hallway out here, but it is not. It is its own separate room. You can get the ghost wandering out here, but that's about it. Moving on to the final room of the second floor, we got the attic hallway here. There is literally nothing here. I wish I could give more of an explanation. The only thing of note here is the power box can spawn right there, but beyond that is literally just a transition to the upstairs. Wait, did that kick the breaker, or was that that kicked the breaker? Okay, I hear you, Ghost. I'll turn off some lights. Give me a sec while I go turn all that. For a second, I thought the ghost had broken something. Oh, hello there. I assume you're the patriarch. Right, the power box is in the utility room over here. We'll shut off some lights as we head back. Yeah, we can turn off the lights in here. Which is something else to keep in mind. This, the farmhouse does not have a good power supply. There are very few lights you can turn on this map before you kick the breaker. And especially considering the motion lights outside, you need to be very careful to not kick the breaker. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get right back up to the attic. I'm wanting to keep the light on for the attic just so I can show off. Because the attic is another one of the larger rooms on the map. So, like, seeing it in its entirety is kind of handy. But anyway, heading up the attic stairs. Welcome to the attic. Like I said, this is one of the larger rooms out there. It is very crowded. Whole bunch of shit up here. But as far as anything interesting is concerned, there really isn't much. This is really just a good spot to try and loop the ghost. I hear her throw something. No, this place is just creaky as hell. Never mind. But yeah, just a whole lot of ways to break line of sight with a ghost. You can very easily loop it up here as well. Once you break line of sight, you can very easily go back down the stairs and get back to safety. Yeah, just really a very good room. There's also some lanterns up here. I don't know if they count toward the light total on the map, but there's also a few sanctioned hiding spots. You can get back here, just tuck yourself into this little corner and be fairly safe. Beyond that, I don't believe there's anything up here. There isn't any cursed item in this room. There is in the next, but it's a fairly simple room, honestly. Yeah, just keep this little spot in mind. If you break line of sight with ghosts and can't get back to the stairs without running into it, that's a good spot to keep in mind. Anyway, moving on. Oh, it's one of those sorts of situations. Oh, hello. I like whoever had this bedroom. But anyway, this is the attic bedroom. Ooh. Okay. This is very interesting. I am very curious about whoever had this room before us, because they have... Ooh. There's something here. I'm gonna zoom in on this after the full recording so we can actually read this. But that is... Whoever had this room before we came in was into a lot of the same... Hold on, is that... That's either snake oil or... Oh, it's worm remover. They got a crystal ball? Yeah, this shit's cool. Whoever had this room before... I've gotten fully distracted, by the way. That is just neat. Yeah, this was... Whoever had this room before us was both into heavy metal and very much into witchcraft. That's really cool. I'm very distracted. I'm sorry. I noted stuff and that... Yeah. She just said this feels like the room my girlfriend would have. But anyway. The only thing of note with the attic bedroom is, of course, tarot cards can spawn here. And whoever had the tarot cards before us looks like they didn't have a very good time, because that right there is the death card. But beyond that, I don't believe there's any sanctioned hiding spots up here. You can get away a little bit with trying to break line of sight, but at the same time, this is a full room, so the ghost will probably try and find you. The only thing of note is, yeah, you can use this closet. So there is one sanctioned hiding spot. But, yeah, just make sure you have your lights off. Beyond that, though, I believe that's everything to do with this map. If you guys know more about the backstory of this map, please let me know down in the comments below. I'm very interested. Like, between the, missing gun from the gun case, the coffee that's still warm. Interesting. And, just, yeah, everything with this map. This is a really cool, remake of a map. Whoever the studio is behind Phasmophobia, I need to learn who the studio is. I'm doing tutorials on this thing, and I haven't done due diligence on research. But, yeah, whoever the actual team behind this map is, fucking A, good job. This is really cool. I'm very interested. If there is any sort of mystery or ARG behind this map, I really want to know about it. So let me know down in the comments below if there is. But beyond that, thank you all so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed this episode of the Phasmophobia Beginner's Guide, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Go check out some of my other videos. I have a whole series like this. As well, I have a solo hunting series called Phasmophobia Freelancer, if you want to see my methodology whenever I'm hunting ghosts. But beyond that, I thank you all so much for watching this episode, and have a good day, everyone.